Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Chris Taylor, and I am the advocate of the devil. It's a brand new year, a perfect time for reflecting, looking back at all the good in the world. And one of those good things is the cult classic Firefly. Last year, I binge-watched this phenomenal series not once, but twice. All the episodes, including the movie. And it always makes me wonder what would have happened if the series had continued. Learning more about Shepard Book's past, seeing Mal's moral compass be tested time and time again, the on-again, off-again relationship with him and Inara, even the enigmatic nature of River. Fox made a huge mistake in canceling this show. We all, every single browncoat in the verse, wants this show to come back in some form or another. But here's the thing. As good as Firefly was, it won't ever be back to its former glory. First of all, let me preface this whole episode with a reminder that I am a huge fan of the series. Joss Whedon has yet to let me down when it comes to a strong narrative storytelling, as long as he's telling his own story. But Firefly was kinda doomed from the start. Fox had the, air quotes, genius idea to air the episodes out of order, and it wasn't long before the team got word that it was going to be canceled.
She is starting to damage my comm.
Luckily, Universal Studios optioned the series for a trilogy of movies, of which we only got one. Now why is that? Well, it's simple. Because as loud as the vocal minority was in wanting the show to continue, in seeing these characters on any kind of screen, they were just that, a minority. We were loud, passionate, and willing to go the distance in trying to get this made. But when the moment came, we didn't help out enough in getting more made. The series itself wasn't watched nearly as much as was needed to continue to another season. And the movie, it wasn't a box office failure, but it didn't have the kind of sales that was required in making more. Now, a lot of this blame can be put in Fox's hands. They have a history of getting rid of shows that they don't like, or appreciate, or understand. But the movie? That was on us. We did everything we could to get it made. But we didn't then go the extra mile to get it shown to as many of our friends as possible. We didn't convert that passion to creating browncoats. And while what did come out was glorious,
what does that make us?
Big damn heroes, sir.
Ain't we just?
It just wasn't enough. For the series anyways. Which brings me to my second point. The entire cast has found success in other shows. Nathan Fillion got a starring role in Castle. Adam Baldwin got a bit role in the last few episodes in the final season of another Whedonverse show, Angel.
Why do you keep fighting? You signed away your Shanshu. There's nothing in it for you anymore.
Before becoming a series regular on Chuck. Gina Torres plays arguably the best character in Suits, the managing partner of Pearson Spectre Lit, Jessica Pearson. All the power, all the responsibility, and able to portray that character with a class and strength that only she can.
How do you like me now?
Summer Glau seems to be the death knell of every series she's a part of. Maybe it's a coincidence?
Maybe it's Maybelline.
Marina Baccarin was in several episodes of Gotham, and is Wade Wilson's love interest in Deadpool. She snagged a part in one of the biggest and best superhero movies of all time, playing, well, largely the same role she played in Firefly.
Oh, one further addendum. That's the last time you get to call me whore.
Even some of the side characters have branched out. Mark Shepard plays the Weasley crime lord Badger in the show, and that level of charisma has allowed him to ingratiate himself into one of the longest running genre shows out there, Supernatural, as the former King of the Crossroads turned King of Hell Crowley. The mark of a great actor is to move on to different roles and still be able to pull it off, to not only be reminded of what that person used to be, but to move past it. Yes, all these actors embodied their role in Firefly and Serenity, but they've also managed to do other things as well, with much the same or arguably even greater success. This brings on two different problems. First of all, the cast is busy doing other things, so bringing them all together to make another season or movie or whatever, it's gonna be difficult. For another, while it's fun to reference or revisit the past, kind of like how Fillion dressed up as Captain Reynolds in Castle, most actors don't want to only be known for one role. The key to longevity in that business is to be able to have a wide range of abilities to play different parts. Take, for example, well, any known character in the last 20 or 30 years.
Hello, Neo.
How do you know their name?
They're actors, but they're also people. So they need to hop on planes, show up at conventions, you may even chance upon them at a restaurant or on the street. Being recognizable in public is pretty much part of the job description. And sadly, a bit of your own sense of privacy goes away. It's unfortunate, but it's also the price you pay for being an entertainer.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
The problem arises when the fans get, well, let's just say overzealous. They see their favorite character on the street, forgetting they have a life outside the screen, and start spouting their favorite lines from the show, movie, whatever in question. Imagine Christopher Lloyd, hearing for the last 30-odd years variations of
21 gigawatts!
Great Scott! And the like, day in and day out. It would drive you insane. Most actors have said that whatever role they were in that made them famous, or at least defined their career, they kinda hate it. In the case of cult hits like Firefly, that problem becomes even harder to deal with at times, since if that's the only role you're known for, even if you nailed it entirely, then it'll be even harder to be offered anything other than those roles. And you'll be hearing endless impersonations and quotes everywhere you go. I have one final point to make.
Thank Christ.
And it really did dawn on me while binge watching the series. The story is actually pretty complete.
Finish him.
Whoa!
What?
When you take every episode plus the movie, that's the story. Sure, there are plenty of details that could be explained more, and the verse does keep turning, so there would be plenty of other stories to tell. But the main one, the one that we all got invested in, that's done. Anytime you watch a movie, or play a game, or get hooked to a TV show, your mind starts conjuring up scenarios. It's basically how fanfic got started, if you take out all the sex stuff. The longer time goes on, the more fully fleshed out these stories, ideas, theories, all get inside our heads. It's been over a decade now since Serenity was released in theaters, and with all that time, quite frankly, it's been too long. It's been too long since we were first introduced to these characters. Our collective imaginations and expectations of what they would do moving forward could never be told, because it's in our heads. And you know what? If they were to try, it would never be as close to us as the stories that we all have dancing around inside. Despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary, I do hope I managed to shed some light into why bringing back Firefly now, after all this time, would not be a very wise decision. Whether it be the fact that the actors have moved on to other things and would thus most probably not have the time, or just the fact that we as fans have a proven track record of not supporting to the level that studios would need for the project to be viable. It has been so long since the last time we saw these fine folk on screen that it may just be for the best to let it be as it already is. Not every story needs to tie every single loose thread. Sometimes, it's better to let your imaginations run wild and think up of theories and stories all on your own. As always, feel free to let us know in the comments below what you think of the idea of not bringing the show back in one form or another. Do you guys have any special memories on how you were introduced to this story? By all means, bring up any and all points against my own, so that I may proceed to prove you wrong.
Kaboom! You've been lawyered.
You may not be able to stop the signal, but for now, in the case of Firefly and Serenity, the defense rests.
And I think maybe you're gonna give me a little one-on-one time with the missus.
Well, I think you might want to reconsider that last part. See, I married me a powerful, ugly creature.
How can you say that? How can you shame me in front of new people?
If I could make you prettier, I would.
You are not the man I met a year ago.